Good morning, good morning. Welcome to It's Getting Real with Brother David. And man, it's getting real. I'm just telling you right now, it's really getting real. I just want to talk to you this morning about expectations. We all have expectations. And God has expectations of us. He tells us what He expects us to do. And, we're held accountable on whether or not we carry out His expectations. And a lot of people have expectations, and it's some people have high expectations, other people don't have as high expectations. Some people have unrealistic expectations, but we all have expectations to some degree, one way or the other. And I'm just looking up a Bible verse right now, so just bear with me while I'm being distracted while I'm looking through this. But, here's the thing. There are reasonable expectations that we all need to meet. And it's expectations that we all have. And I just lost that again. And oftentimes we fall short of those expectations. And I want to read, with God's expectations, there is a consequence to it. Now, with our expectation, the consequence is we may feel disappointed in ourselves, we may feel disappointed in others, but when you really get down to it, it doesn't stop the world from turning around. But here's what God says about His expectations. Found in Hebrews chapter 10, I'm starting verse 26. For if we sin willfully after we have received the knowledge of the truth, there no longer remains a sacrifice for sins, but a certain fearful expectation of judgment and fiery indignation, which will devour the adversaries. So, God's expectations is that we're going to follow His mandates. We're going to follow His commandments. We're going to do what He tells us to do. And when we don't, there are consequences to our actions. We're living in a world today where consequences are not really there. We make excuses. We ignore. We just go on about life. It can't happen to me. It can't happen here. But the point is, God has expectations of every one of His children. He gives us responsibility. He gives us duties. He gives us a mission. He gives us a purpose. And He expects for us to fulfill those mandates. He expects us to fulfill our purpose. He expects us to go out and be the servants that we are created to be. He expects us to go out and share His word, to tell people about Jesus. He doesn't expect us to come in and just sit on a pew, or to sit in the house, or to wait and depend on somebody else to go out and do it for us. You see, nobody can fulfill my mission. Nobody can fulfill your mission. Nobody can fulfill your purpose. Nobody can fulfill your mandate from God. Nobody can go out and do what God has commanded you to do. So when God puts people in your path, He's not putting them there for you to go tell the preacher that God feels like this person, you need to go visit this person. You need to go visit that person. Now, you can ask the preacher to go with you, or someone to go with you to back you up, to give you confidence. But the reality of the matter is, no one could do the job that God has given you to do as well as you. And when we refuse, when we don't fulfill those things, then there are consequences to us due to the fact that we're not obeying God, that we're not doing what God has told us to do. Just like you got signs posted on the highway, speed limit 70, and then you get all bent out of shape because you're driving 90 and the cop writes you a ticket. Well, you were told, you were commanded to only drive the maximum speed of 70. And in some places it says, and you have a minimum speed that you can drive. So don't get bent out of shape when the consequences fall down on you because you failed to follow the commandment that you're given. Same thing with God. Don't be upset with God because you have to face a consequence because of your failure to meet God's expectation. And I want you to understand something. You say God expects too much from me. No, He does not expect too much from you. He expects exactly what you're capable of doing because He knows you better than you know yourself because He created you. So if God is calling you to do something, if you feel God pulling you down a path or leading you down a path that you're not unsure about, understand this. God expects you to do what He has set before you because He knows you can do it. So go out and do what God has called you to do in complete confidence that you're going to succeed. You're going to be able to accomplish what God has set before you. Don't worry about people's expectations. Don't worry about the world's expectation. Be concerned with God's expectations because if we fulfill God's expectations, then we will have completed and done what God has called us to do. Brothers and sisters, I hope this is going to be a short one today. I'm sort of in a rush. I'm late getting to church, and I just want to put one out today. But know this, I love you, and when I talk about stuff like this, I'm talking about this because I want to make you better you. And until next time, live God's expectations. Love you, see you, and God bless you. See you next Sunday.